You hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I like? Patreon.com/inkdependence keeps this blog ad-free. Hello folks, welcome to Inkdependence. I'm Mike, and today we have this ink, which is Diamine Vert Sapin from Couronne du Comte. I am not sure I'm saying that last one right. I'm pretty sure I'm getting Vert Sapin right, though. This is pine green, and I'd open it up and show you what's going on. Heck, I'll do it anyway. This is the mouth of the bottle, but it's a very dark ink, and you're not going to be able to tell what color it is from that. This is a clear bottle. It just looks like it's black because it's got a bunch of ink in it still, and you can tell a little bit there from that swatch. That is kind of what this ink looks like, although you'll almost never see that much green. So here it is on a page. Get this over there. There we go. This is what it looks like on the page. You can see it is a very nice dark green. You can see there's a fair amount of that bright green kind of showing up there in the swatch. However, when you look at the writing samples, it looks very, very dark. You can tell in some spots where the ink is a bit lighter, or I should say where it didn't put down as much ink, that you get some shading that goes towards this lighter color, but you more often get this center area, which is very dark green with a red sheen, and you do get a fair amount of red sheen with this ink, even on like more standard papers that are more absorbent than Rhodia. Okay, so this is obviously my standard Rhodia 80 grams per square meter paper, which I like quite a lot, and the flow on this is a little bit on the wet side, maybe like fairly on the wet side, and I was using this in two different pens that are very different. Well, the nibs are anyway. This is a MCM OG Slim, which has a flex nib. This is an aftermarket flex nib. And this nib is really wet and maybe not the best combo for this ink, because man, does it ever flood the page with some ink. We'll show you what happens when you do that later on. But nonetheless, I used it on that pen. And then the other one is this other MCM pen. I believe this is the thick version, which is all copper, but this has a standard medium Yovo nib in here, and it's been great. In fact, I've been taking notes with this all day. Yeah, I'm pretty much out of ink here. Uh-oh. Good thing I was done taking notes, right? So this one's about done, but I have really enjoyed it in here, and the notes came out very cool, and you get this like nice sheen off of the ink. As far as performance, not at all bad on the copy paper. So this is the Staples 20-pound, 30% recycled copy paper that I always use for these bad paper tests. And the performance here is very dependent upon the nib. So this first one is that flex nib, and you can see that there is spread. We've got feathering going on. I don't love this nib, and so it was giving me, I got like very inconsistent line weights and things. Flex isn't really my jam, and this one was just kind of not looking great on here because it was putting down way too much ink. The medium nib, however, on the other pen was just fine, so no problems there. By the way, this flex started out life as an extra fine, so that gives you some some context. And then on the back, you can see the flex nib just bled through the paper constantly, whereas the medium just kind of gave you spots here and there, which is extremely common for this copy paper stuff. It's no worse than most of the other things on this page. So pretty okay on copy paper as long as you're using a normal nib and don't try to use a flex nib because it's fairly wet. All right. And actually, if you're using a nib that's smaller than this medium and was maybe on the dry side, I think this would work really well on copy paper, as a matter of fact. And as I say here, qualities, shading, and also sheen. You can see here probably in my my notes that with the flex nib, did I get smudgy here? Not too bad. I smudged one version of this and had to start over. In fact, it was actually this swatch up here was still wet, and a pen rolled through it and just kind of painted the rest of the page with ink. So yeah, no real problems here. You get nice shading and nice sheen even with just the regular old medium nib. And then you can see down here, this is a very inexpensive ink. This is Diamine. We got this overseas at LCDC, where it was $3.50 excluding that VAT for a 30 ml bottle, which is an extremely good value and a really nice ink to boot. All right, let's do our little water drop test here and see how this goes. I'm not expecting a whole lot. Come on, cat hair. Mr. Nose was on my desk recently, and so there are cat furs on my desk that are hard to get rid of. All right. So immediately you can tell, yeah, not water resistant in any kind of way at all. Let's go ahead and mop this up. Man, if you spill your glass of water or tea on this or something, you're going to have a bad time. It's Good and blot. Also may have gone a little overboard on the water, but hey, look, we're trying to replicate like spilling a glass of something, so I'm not going to feel too bad about that. Lots of water here. And yeah, not a lot of words there. So yeah, you can see all that green and blue stuff came up, and actually getting some like minor chromatography going on here. That looks pretty cool, but not great in terms of water resistancies there. Did it push anything through? No, it didn't push anything through the page though, so that's good. All right. So let's take a look at the chromatography right quick. Then we'll look at some other papers, and then we'll look at some comparable inks. So this is down here is where the ink started. Obviously, is where it starts being like not plain white, and then it pushed this ink all the way up the page, which is not at all surprising. Well, you do have a really nice blue up here that I wasn't really expecting, but yeah, no appreciable water resistance on this at all. Okay, there we go. Green, by the way, not usually a very water-resistant color, just kind of in general. I've heard it's difficult to do greens. There aren't terribly many water-resistant greens. This is my Inky Fingers Currently Inked notebook, and this is wheat straw paper, which I like a lot, and I use. I have reams of because I got it when it was cheap before it went away. This is how this looks on here, and it actually did very well, I think, from both nibs. This is a nice, smooth paper, and so I didn't have any like really weird stuff going on with this flex nib up here. You can see there are definitely some light and dark areas, but it seems like it was pretty okay. And of course, it's not going to bleed through here, so I have nothing to worry about there either. Wheat straw paper is very resistant. And also you get a nice variation, and you get the light colors and also a whole lot of that sheen here as well. And then with the medium nib, I think this came off very well. So good job. I like this a lot in a medium nib. Might have to try it in a fine or something. I don't know. All right. Next, we have our ink journal. This is Tomoe River paper. Totally worth checking out. If you haven't tried Tomoe River or ink journals, these things are great. Okay, so here you see some of the problem with this ink with a really wet nib, and that is apparently when I did the writing here, I just didn't give it nearly enough time to dry, and I dragged a hand across it, and I had green on my hand. I was just checking to see if it was still there. That was only well, all right, so that was a little while ago, a couple of weeks anyway, but whatever. It really smudged quite a while after that. But an interesting thing with the flex nib versus the regular medium is that here in the scribbly bit, where it was put down much lighter, you have a whole different character of green than you do with the medium nib here, which is, I think, pretty cool. And also you'll notice the medium nib didn't really smudge. It was just this top one, because it was just putting down a whole lot of ink in these little swipes, these little downward bits. Which really traveled, man. Really traveled. All right. So let's look at some Colodex cards. There's my Colodex card for this one, which is extremely dark. You didn't really get any of those light tones at all, except up here in very quick writing bits. This paper is reasonably absorbent, and so it didn't really have that long a dry time, although on papers like Rhodia or Tomoe River, you will want to give this some time to dry before moving anything over it, or you're going to get a smeary mess. But man, look at all that sheen. Gorgeous. Okay. Then let's see. Here is... I've got some real heavy sheening greens. So this is Organic Studio Walden Pond Blue, which is... I mean, they say it's blue. It looks green to me, and it's also almost entirely sheen. Also, I don't use this ink anymore because it's just too much of a pain. It smears forever. Did I just smudge it? Look at that. I just smudged it. It's been on this card for a very long time, like probably a year or something, and I still smudged it. And also, Walden Pond Blue, I just can't make it flow. So I don't get this. If I have a choice between these two, I'm 100% getting this one. Vert Sapin. Okay. Next up, let's do, this is Vinta and Andrada? I always thought this was Andromeda in the back of my head, but no, Vinta Andrada, which is a very nice dark green, extremely dark, and a lot of sheen. A slightly different sheen than you get from Vert Sapin, though less red and more kind of violet sheen. Interesting stuff. I haven't used this in a pen yet. Next up, this is KWZ's Discovery Green from which is a Dromgools exclusive, and you do get a lot of the same kinds of color here from Discovery Green and Vert Sapin, But given, I mean, if I have a choice between these two, I'm going to go with Vert Sapin. I think it's just a better version of Discovery Green, or it's a better performer than Discovery Green for sure. I've had this one be reticent. It dries up in the nib and causes me some super sheener problems unless I diluted it a little bit, which worked really well. So I diluted it just a touch, and I put some White Lightning in one pen, and it was great. So, this one needs a little bit of extra care, whereas Vert Sapin is less expensive and also works right out of the bottle. Now, here's another one. This is Diamine's November Rain. And while November Rain is a slightly different green, perhaps, if I look at... I can look at it not on the color decks card, but here on this Rhodia paper, I kind of think that Vert Sapin and November Rain are very close to being dupes. They might be the same ink. They might be just very, very close. But either way, November Rain and Vert Sapin are very close. And so if you, for whatever reason, can't get Vert Sapin but can get November Rain, or the other way around, I mean, go for it, because they're both very good and they seem the same. So those might be dupes. I don't know, but they might be. I haven't done chromatography on November Rain, so I'm a little uncertain there. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for watching my Diamine Vert Sapin review, and I hope that you find this ink and use it if you're into a real dark green super sheener, because it's pretty cool. All right, like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Tell me if you have had experience with any of these like super sheener inks and how it went for you, and if you've tried this one out. I'll see y'all later in the next video. Peace out.